people, it's ThePedalGuy here. How you doing? Today what we're going to do is we are going to update the Ampero firmware. But before we get started, please take a second and click on that subscribe button down there so you can stay up to date with all of our videos. And if you're watching this on Facebook and Instagram, please take a moment and like and follow us so you can stay up to date with all of our activities. All right, well, the Ampero has a new firmware out. It's really great. There's a whole bunch of great new features in it. But getting there from the original firmware is a little complicated, so I hope you're going to find this video informative and helpful, because I'm going to take you through the process very quickly here. So we will have two things to look at in the video. One will obviously be the Ampero as we're making the update happen. The other will be what's going on the computer screen. So first things first, what do you need to download in order to update the firmware? Well, the first thing you need obviously the firmware, and that can be found at the Hotone website. Now, the second thing you need is the Ampero editor. Now, here's where it gets a little complicated. There are two versions of the editor on the Hotone website right now. There's 1.0.2, and there is, I believe it's 1.1.2, or it could be 1.1.1. Whatever the case may be, that's not the one you want to use. The one you want to use for this purpose, for updating the firmware, is 1.0.2. And if you happen to get lost, just look at the README file that comes with the firmware and it'll tell you the exact same thing. So hopefully this will help save you a little bit of time while you're doing this. Okay, so to get things ready, the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that the Ampero is plugged in to your computer via USB. Okay, and it should connect rather quickly. And once it does, then you are ready to go. So the first thing we're going to do is set the Ampero up for updating the firmware. And it's very easy to do that. All you have to do is simply turn off the Ampero. Now you need to hold down the control, the 3-foot switch, the control foot switch, and the menu value switch / knob. And now the Ampero is going to ask, are you sure you want to update the firmware? Obviously the answer to that question is yes. And at this point, you don't need to do anything else to the Ampero itself. Now over on the computer screen, you'll notice that when you've got the Ampero editor launched and you have put the Ampero into firmware update mode, you'll see a little button down here that says update. So go ahead and press that. And that's going to take you to the Windows Explorer. Now you just go and you find the firmware update wherever you happen to put it. I put it on the desktop to make things easy. I'm going to go ahead and select it, click open, and like that, it's starting to update the firmware as we speak. So through the magic of not having to wait for 10 minutes, when we come back, you'll see the firmware has been, the installation has been completed. And then we have one final step to do with the Ampero, and you're ready to rock and roll. Okay, welcome back. We have gone ahead and updated the firmware on the Ampero. Now what happens after the firmware update is completed is the screen goes blank, meaning you have to turn it off and then turn it back on. All right, so that's pretty straightforward, easy to go. And if we go to the global and we go to About, you can now see that it's firmware 2.1. So the firmware has been successfully updated. Now the last thing we need to do before we finish the process here is we need to recalibrate the expression pedal here. So to do that, you go to Control Expression, then you use the menu value knob to navigate through until you find Expression 1 settings, press it, and then go down to Calibrate. Once you do that, go ahead and press it. Now the first thing you want to do is you want to lift the expression pedal. Once you've done that, hit the next button. Then you want to push it down, hit the next button, and now you want to press it strongly, like as you're going to turn it on if you're using a wall pedal. Now you hit the next button, and there you go. That's all there is. Very straightforward, very easy. And now the Ampero is set to go. Hopefully you found some value in this. This is kind of a pain if you're doing this for the first time. So make sure you watch the video and watch it as frequently as you need to. But that is how you update the firmware to version 2.1 on the Ampero. So for more information on the Ampero and the other products that we carry, please visit us at ThePedalGuy.com. Also be sure to follow us on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, of course, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on both Facebook and Instagram. Thanks and have a great day.